The Target data breach happened in 2013 at the end of the year between November 27th and December 18th. 70 million personal records were stolen, including people's addresses. 40 million credit card and debit card numbers were also stolen. The estimated cost was around $290 million, minus the amount that the insurance covered for the company. It was still over $200 million. The company disclosed the breach 4 days after the Department of Justice reached out to them, informing them that their network had been breached, even though they had received multiple alerts from their security team. The FBI and Secret Service shortly joined in on the investigation for how the breach happened. Fazio Mechanical Firm was an HVAC company that Target used for their heating and air conditioning needs. They did not have direct access to the entire Target network, but they had access to the business portion, which they used to submit invoices and for billing for their company. The attackers were able to successfully use phishing attempts to compromise the passwords for Fazio, and they were able to use those passwords to access the Target network, which was poorly segmented as far as sensitive information being segmented off from the entire network. It was completely available once you were inside their internal network. Once the attackers had access to the internal network for Target, they started testing malware on their point of sale systems where people swipe their cards on card readers, and those card readers report back to Windows 10 services, and those card details are stored in those processes for Windows 10. Once they were able to data scrape those processes for the card information, they were sent back to FTP servers. They had control of 3 FTP servers that were compromised. They only operated during business hours to not raise suspicion, but while those cards were being scraped, they were being stored in a repository on these FTP servers, for which then at the busiest times of day, they were sent out to drop sites for the attackers to collect the information. The malware used to infect the POSs in the Target breach was called Black POS or Captoxa. The exact details on how the hackers accessed the web application was never fully disclosed. Some of the theories was an SQL injection that inserted a command for remote control of the web application. Another theory was the business service web application allowed uploads for invoices where they uploaded a PHP file that amended an already existing PHP file. They inserted the code to open up a backdoor for them to access the entire network. The Captosa program only ran during business hours to not raise suspicion. The program was self-destructive in environments that were lacking sensitive data. Rosalind Bonders was arrested in 2017 in relationship to one of the users of a program he developed that was directly linked to the data breach. The program was designed for hackers to test their malware against, and one of the users was directly linked to the data breach, even though they never found out the actual identity of the user that was using the program. Him and a co-conspirator were arrested in Riga, Latvia, and they were extradited to the United States and later sentenced to 14 years in prison. His co-conspirator testified against him, but he was the only person that was ever convicted of cyber crimes in the data breach. The Target data breach could have been prevented at many checkpoints during the 3-week period that they were under attack. The network should have been segmented more properly to protect sensitive data. Target should have responded when their security team brought alerts to their attention, as most breaches are a lack of password complexity or a lack of employee education. There's plenty of available information that security team leaders could have shared with their employees.